What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more NBA news to, of course, be talking about with you guys. In today's news, we actually got a bit of Redick news to go over, which I think is really cool to talk about, because I don't know if you guys have seen this, but on Redick's podcast, he actually said that he is in no rush to make a move.
Just taking my time. I feel no rush to make any sort of decision on next season. And I felt that way when the season ended, and I feel that way now. My focus right now is just hanging with my family and enjoying the off season. And we'll make a decision on next season, what team, what city, etc. Probably sometime in the next 2 or 3 months. But you know, I would say pretty much definitively, like, I won't be in a training camp to start the season. That's not going to happen.
It could take next week, it could be a month away, etc. And I believe he said that like 2 weeks ago, and now this news that we've kind of heard about before is all really starting to float out again, with it now currently being reported that Redick is either going to be joining the New York Knicks or Brooklyn Nets in free agency. According to sources, the veteran guard prefers to play in New York or Brooklyn, the latter borough being where he and his family resides. Now, again, I don't know if you guys have seen this as well, but wow, you should take a look at Redick's house. I'm pretty sure he bought like an old warehouse or something that would have been like pretty cheap back in the day when Brooklyn wasn't, you know, as big as I suppose it is now. But he probably bought it for pretty cheap, then he kind of renovated it into his own house. And he's got like a house that's like a warehouse shaped in Brooklyn, which is, yeah, that sounds like a lot of money right there. But yeah, he is living in Brooklyn right now, he and his family. He did go and sign with New Orleans because of, they offered him so much money, like, they offered him like $13 million a year or something. So it was like something he couldn't really decline. Then he got traded to Dallas, and he's probably was never living there. Like, his family was probably always living in Brooklyn, and anytime he probably went and vacation there or something. And considering that he would be playing a lot of games, you know, here and there in Philadelphia, New York, Brooklyn, every single season, he still would come home probably quite regularly, and then he'd have like the 6-month off season at home. I think now's where he just says that he wants to go home. And the big news, I think, out of this is the New York Knicks being interested, because I feel like Brooklyn are kind of an 100% confirmed team that he'll probably go there. But considering we look at New York, who have just joined the race, who aren't exactly too far from his house, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, he actually maybe did look to, of course, go to New York over Brooklyn maybe. And considering Brooklyn are so stacked right now, I would think that would still be the preferred option for him. In my opinion, I still think he is joining the Brooklyn Nets in free agency, no matter how much the New York Knicks are going to be interested in him. The only way I think he'd join New York is possibly if they offered him more money, I would suppose, because I think both teams are just going to be offering the minimum. But hey, if New York came out here and offered like $3.5 million instead of the casual $1 million or so to get at Brooklyn, man, he might actually join New York. Like, that could actually be a possibility that, you know, could, I suppose, happen. But will it? Probably not. I mean, considering the Brooklyn Nets are in championship contention next season, I'd say more than what the New York Knicks are. I think he would like to join a team that has Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Joe Harris, Blake Griffin, Bruce Brown, etc. I wouldn't see why he, of course, wouldn't join there. But again, that's not to say they don't have a mid-level exception either. Who knows, maybe they have like a small one or whatever. I'm pretty sure they did use it actually on Patty Mills, who I just forgot to mention. They brought him in on like $8 million, you know, per year or something like that. So they kind of used all their money on Patty, which makes a lot of sense because Patty's an absolute beast. But yeah, they still needed to get... Again, here's the thing. I don't reckon the Brooklyn Nets are winning the championship. I'm going to say this before the season even starts. I don't think they're winning the championship. Mainly, I actually think the Lakers are going to win it. And I'm not a Lakers fan. I'm not a Nets fan. But the reason I think the Lakers are going to win it is because I don't really feel like there is a hole on this Lakers team. Look, maybe the hole is they don't have enough catch and shoot players. Alright. Maybe the hole is Westbrook and LeBron might fight over the ball. Okay. But there's not really as big of a hole as what the Nets currently have right now in defense. And we saw when one star went down last year, 2 stars is a lot, but I don't think it's enough to beat some of the teams out there that have elite defenses, and that's why the Bucks really got to them, because as soon as one of their stars went down, they didn't have enough defense to cover up that loss. So the Milwaukee Bucks kind of just ran over them. But if he looks at the New York Knicks, and if he wants to go play with Julius Randle, who is also a really good player in the NBA, and I think could still develop into being even a better player, and even like RJ Barrett, etc., they would still be a pretty interesting team. And, they brought in Evan Fournier. Could they bring in maybe another catch-and-shoot player here and there on the minimum, considering they lost Reggie Bullock as well? Why not? I think JJ Redick knows that he's probably not going to get as much minutes next season. But I think the also other thing to keep in mind is, would it be weird for me to say that even though Brooklyn Nets are the much better team, would it be weird for me to say I think he'd actually get more minutes on Brooklyn than he would New York? I think New York have so many role players they've got to give minutes to, where it's kind of going to be like a squeeze of, how do we give all of these players minutes, So that's how I think, maybe he does look at Brooklyn. Like, maybe he'll get paid $2 million less, but who knows? Maybe he'll get more minutes here and there, and he's more likely to probably win a championship, I suppose. Although, as I said, I have a feeling one of those stars goes down, it will just be a repeat of last year, where they won't have enough defense to go against other teams. And considering you've got the Lakers still out here, let's just say, theoretically, James Harden goes down with another injury, right? And then you've got Kyrie Irving and KD. Theoretically, if you put those two against the Lakers in like a final series or whatever, LeBron, AD, and Westbrook are probably going to beat them. And then you look at, even in the East, like if you put those two against the Milwaukee Bucks and their terrific defense and stars of Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Giannis, do they beat them? It's going to be really interesting to see how this, of course, all goes. They didn't beat them last year. I guess now that they've got Patty Mills on that Nets team, things might change a little bit more, and they'll probably be building up the chemistry. But hey, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how this all goes, and how JJ Redick actually looks to make this decision. I would hope that he'd actually report this on his podcast. That would actually be pretty cool, because this news has been kind of floating around for quite a while right now, where it'd be nice to maybe get a little bit of a sense of what he's kind of looking at right now. Is he looking at New York? Is he looking at Brooklyn? Or maybe, does he actually like it in Dallas? Are they going to offer him a little bit of money? Again, I think they still need to keep some catch-and-shoot players for Luka to kind of operate with. But again, I don't think that's the case. I don't think he's re-signing. I think he's going to go to New York or the Brooklyn Nets. But of course, I'd really like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this. In the comment section down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel for all those NBA content and NBA news. Of course, if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/long channels. And of course, don't forget to check out my podcast as well, if you haven't already, which I will all be linking in the description down below. But as I was saying, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.